Well. What's been going on? Bitcoin drops and everyone's like, oh my God, it's over. That's it. The bull run's done. Bitcoin comes back up. Let's go to the moon. Welcome to Cryptocurrency Mentality, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are new, welcome to Traders Reality. My name is Tino. And today we're going to be quickly going over what's going on in the stock market, in the crypto market, in the Forex world, just to understand what we can anticipate going into what will be the last trading day, which is tomorrow, of 2024. So if you are new, hit the like button, subscribe, do all of that fun and games. Yep, those are the Donald Trump shoes, courtesy of one of the pattern watchers in the live streams. Mad love to you, my friend. So let's get with the program, guys. Today, the bonds market doing really well. The bonds are currently trading at really cheap prices, but this usually could mean that investors are sort of a little bit concerned about the uncertainty of going into the start of 2025. Why? Donald Trump's inauguration. What's he going to do with the tariffs? Is he going to be really hard on China? What's he going to be like with the European zone itself? Quite frankly, the main question on everyone's minds is Trump going to act on this Bitcoin reserve story the second he comes into power, or is he going to get these tariffs pushed out? Because China's on edge right now and they're waiting to hear what Trump has to say. With that being said, going over to the bonds market itself, investors like to go to bonds because it's a fixed income security and it is low risk. Now, going over to the yields, which is what makes the bonds go up when the yields go down, you can see the 10-year yield is currently at 4.5%. It nearly made a high of around 4.65%, hit the 4.63. What does this tell you? It tells you that investors are effectively locking in yield. That means they're locking in a rate of return of 4.63. And of course, currently right now, 4.5%. Now, that tells you that investors are thinking, maybe I need to offload some of my risk in the stock market. Going over to the stock market, you can see that NASDAQ has a little bit of a choppy day. It's come down, and now it's making a little bit of a return back up. But volume is very light across the board. You can see here, NASDAQ volume is only up 4.2% for the day. New York stock market volume is up only 9.17%. According to Market Surge, it is saying that exposure, that means your capital should be exposed around 80 to 100%. So that is a little bit extreme for me, in my opinion, given that we got 5 distribution days on the NASDAQ and 5 on the S&P. What's a distribution day? Effectively means that you've got institutional investors selling stock. And when a number of those days of selling stock builds up, it can usually compromise any rallies that we're seeing in the marketplace. Now, speaking of stocks in particular, we've got to go over to MicroStrategy. Look what's going on there. MicroStrategy took a bit of a beating today. Let's be honest now. And I'm telling you now, the idea of MicroStrategy, the strategy itself from Michael Saylor is just to accumulate Bitcoin, use investors' income, or should I say money, sell them some shares, use that money and go and buy yourself some Bitcoin. That's what Saylor is doing. They just recently purchased 2,139 Bitcoin and they're using investors' money right now. But the good thing about this move right here, guys, is that it's actually happening on low volume. When you get low volume on a move to the downside, it does tell you that there's no liquidity there, and that's usual for this time of year. But you can't make a conviction that that's it now, everything is over. Naturally, I did say that the distribution days on the NASDAQ and the S&P are starting to mount up. But when you see the stocks volume actually coming in really low and prices going down, could be a few bids, but there's not really that much pressure to market lower. We only get concerned when we start seeing the volume, as you can see in the bottom right here. If the volume starts to show that there's lots of selling, then we are going to be concerned about it. And because it's below this red 50-day moving average, 50-day average of volume above average or not, you can see that we don't really have that much to worry about. So some investors could be jumping onto the bandwagon and picking up MicroStrategy for cheap with the belief that it's going to go higher, on the premise that Bitcoin's price continues to go up. With that being said, going over into some news in cryptocurrency, Genius Group has actually started to add more cryptocurrency to its treasury. So that's good news. It achieves a 1,649% Bitcoin yield. That is what MicroStrategy is pretty much endorsing to companies around the world. Get your Bitcoin. Get the treasury. Start putting it to work. You got cash sat on the sides. Pick up your Bitcoin. And to be honest with you guys, we're looking at it and we know that the ETF itself, it's the greatest launch. As you can see here, it's saying that the BlackRock ETF is wonderful. Going over into the ETF itself to see where we are with that. We haven't seen any sales. or any purchases made by BlackRock, although this week, before the start of this week, it was at around 553,000, and they've taken some off the table. Looking into the actual transactions, you can see over the last few hours or so, the last 4 hours, we've seen quite a significant amount of Bitcoin being sold in terms of the ETF itself, but nothing to be too concerned about, in my honest opinion. In other news in crypto, we've got Japan trying to put out this reclassification of cryptocurrency. Japan are really trying to do things, but we actually go over to Japan right now and have a look at the Japanese yen. That thing is getting absolutely destroyed and annihilated, which I will say to you all, be very careful with the Japanese yen. The carry trade principle is still in play. What do I mean by that? Well, investors are borrowing money, Japanese yen, because it's cheap to do so. And then they then sell that yen and convert it over to dollars. And then they use those dollars to buy stocks. So when we actually look at the yen, we say to ourselves, well, at what point will the Japanese decide to actually step in and start buying dollars just so that they can inflate their yen? Because right now it's trading at significant levels. But what's going on is investors are borrowing the yen and putting it to work, which is why the Kabasi letter did say that most investors or most of people in America believe that the stock market is going to continue to rally in 2025. In my opinion, that could be the case. What you'd need to be seeing is the bonds market starting to move up. You need to see the bonds market moving up. And granted, when we go into news announcements, I mean, one of the big news announcements that's coming in very soon is Tesla's earnings. According to the letter, it says here that all eyes are on Tesla this week because they are expected to report a Q4 deliveries of 504,000, according to Kalshi. Now, that'll be great news if they do hit in line with estimations. However, if they don't, then this big move to the upside could be engineered to bring it all back down. And that might be a sight for sore eyes, given that it hasn't stopped moving up. So Tesla has been bucking the trend. It's been an outperformer. It's been outperforming the stock market as such. But then again, the stock market has been behaving at all-time highs. So we can't really complain with that story. Going over into the options markets for any of my options traders, I did touch up on something only a couple of days ago about the unusual trades in a specific stock. And that was in mRNA. Now, let me just find that for you to put it into perspective. Here she is. So this is the Moderna option flow chart. Now, stick with me on this one before you start losing your brains about it, but this is where you try and identify an opportunity. Going into the options themselves, lots of unusual volume coming into here. You've got sell puts favoring higher prices, a 34,447,000. Then you've got some more coming in at 23,597,000. And all the big purchases, I mean, you got one right here that was done on the 26th of December, 122,372,000. And you got 61 million right here. Who on earth is picking this stock up? What is this stock about? So let's just go and have a look at what that thing is. So Moderna develops cardiovascular, wait for it, here we go. So develops messenger RNA therapeutics for infectious immunologically, can't even say it, immunologically, can't say it. I challenge you to say it the way it's spelled. That is terrible. Rare and cardiovascular diseases. Courtesy of my guy, Jimmy Boy. The CDC has just announced that the first bird flu case showing mutations and now a warning we could see another pandemic. 20 days before Trump goes into office. Like, why does this guy win before a pandemic? Could you imagine? Putting two and two together, and the logic is, why the interest? Why have you got so much? What are you doing? Do you know something? Are you going to come out with something that's going to be worth its while? Maybe it could be a quick flip. Who knows? But for all the conspiracy theorists, let's just put two and two together. Who knows? I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying that there's going to be another one. I'm saying that just the speculation alone could lead investors to do something. You go over to the stock itself and you can see where we are. Launch that. You can see it's trading significantly low, but $39 a share is not doing too bad for the technology that it provides. We go over to the weekly itself. We can see it's got a relatively decent market cap as a biochemical, medical biotech company, but don't shoot the messenger, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying to you, lots of volume are coming into this. Why? This bird flu story might be a thing. It might not. But this is the sort of thing that happens in this environment. Speculation. That's all it is. As we go into explore Bitcoin's current price action, just be very mindful, guys, as we go into tomorrow's final day of trading. We are heading into the monthly candle close. We do have 1 day and 5 hours left. We do have the green vector candle principle, where it could look like they could try and make an attack to the downside, but it all depends on the volume of Bitcoin coming in. Having a look at the bids and the offers, you can see that they have pulled back a little bit. We've had, oh God, like 12,068 traders have been liquidated. Everyone is right now trying to short Bitcoin. But the problem that I've got with this is the sharp reversal back up has been met with light volume, to say the least. Speaking of all price action and what have you, today we did manage to exploit this behavior with the Platinum members. So if you haven't joined the Platinum membership, get involved, because these are the sort of trade setups that you'll get. In particular, we just go over to cryptocurrency and have a look at the Bitcoin trade. We wanted to see Bitcoin today try and make a little bit of a move to the downside, but we wanted to see a little bit of a sweep up, which we did get. They just missed the entry point, but I was favoring bias to the downside regardless. And we did see Bitcoin make a nice move down towards the partial profit taking area right here at 92,275. We go into Bitcoin's price action today. We just go over and have a look at that, and you can see that sweep to the downside on Bitcoin, pretty significant, sent Bitcoin all the way down towards the 91,549. And that's why it's so important that you actually take trades and pay yourselves, because the market can just simply reverse just like it has done right here. The same story for Ethereum as well. We wanted to see Ethereum make a little bit of a move to the downside as well. And she made the nice clean move. It was a nice move on Ethereum. She came and tested the daily open because that's what we wanted to see them do. And if you did manage to hold on to the trade and see the move to the downside, then you would have seen quite a decent move in Ethereum, given that she was so volatile today. So quickly go over to it. Look at that. You can see she came and hit that one target zone. She hit the daily open, and then she came down to the 3035 region itself, and then made a sharp reversal. So it was all based on this one candlestick right here, where they came back down and recovered the green vector candle. So that's something that's really important. But this strategy right now, we've got a red candle, green candle formation forming on Ethereum, as we do with Bitcoin as well. So it's really going to be one of those, if Bitcoin can actually sustain the 94,000 point. Going over to the daily time frame as well, if it can hold this 50 EMA, given that it has swept it, then going into the actual monthly candle, we really need to see that candle closing as much as it physically can, as high as it possibly can, towards the open of the monthly candle. That means we need to see Bitcoin move up $2,000 over the next day and 5 hours. Will that be the case? Well, it all depends on investor sentiment as to whether or not they think Bitcoin is done for. So that's speculation that's hitting the markets across the board, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, there is a discount code in the description of this video where you get 20% off the Platinum membership, where you'll get trade setups like the ones I have shared today. Have yourselves a great evening, guys, and I'll tune into you all tomorrow for the final live stream of the year. Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love and respect. Peace.